Hello, listeners, and welcome to Teachers Service UCS. I am your host, Lana, the educator. If you're a first-time listener on this channel, welcome. Here we explore the latest educational trends and tackle pressing issues facing the education sector, conduct insightful interviews with people making a difference, and share stories of triumph and innovation from classrooms across the globe. If you're interested in all of this, then like and subscribe. Today on Teachers Have Issues, yes, I welcome my guest, Kevin Holder, the current Assistant Head of Secondary Middle Years Program Coordinator and English teacher at Raha International School in Abu Dhabi, United Arab Emirates. Mr. Holder possesses a BA English and Communication from Andrews University, a diploma in teaching English to speakers of other languages from London Teacher Training College, and an MA in English Language and Linguistics from the University of Leicester. As a proponent of student-centered learning, he places a strong emphasis on utilizing student data to guide the development and implementation of lesson plans that really align with the IB curriculum. With expertise in IB curriculum coordination, he collaborates with colleagues to design and implement innovative curricula that meet the unique needs of students. By staying current with the emerging trends and innovative teaching technologies, he is able to enhance the educational experiences for his students and achieve exceptional educational outcome. His current work involves being middle year program coordinator and English teacher, where he developed a mentorship program. He has also worked at Emirates National School as a secondary English language coordinator, as well as Ibri Oman at Ibri College of Technology as an English as a second language lecturer, where he prepared IELTS examination, International English Language Testing System. So we have a well-qualified, fabulous, and brilliant guest with us this afternoon. Welcome, Mr. Kevin Holder.
No. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for having me. Thank you very much for the amazing intro as well. I think sometimes hearing this stuff listed out like that, yeah, it sounds like a lot, but yeah, it's just teaching and learning, man. I'm trying to be humble a little bit.
Yes, and guys, if you didn't know, I asked this guy to send me, about what you're doing there. I chose him because I know he's doing all these amazing things out there in the Middle East, and he sent me 2 little lines of paragraph. This is me. I said, no. I'm seeing you doing amazing things over there in the Middle East. So you have to hype up yourself. I'm hyping you up. Teachers are doing wonderful and amazing things just around the globe generally. So I really want to thank you for agreeing to do this, considering the differences in time zone and all of that.
No. Again, thank you for having me. It's just around 7:30 here, 7:30 p.m. So, yeah, that's all good.
Enough time.
That's all good.
We planned it well. So, what inspired this decision to move from the Caribbean to teach in the Middle East?
Wow. I had when I got into the Ministry of Education, had me down as a teacher 2 English. All right. So that meant, I'll always remember, that meant that my salary at the time was 7,451, right? And my other colleagues were making just about $2,000 more. But that had really irked me in a way. And I had a few friends that were working in the Middle East, not in education. They were actually working at Emirates Airlines. And they had spoken to me a bit about, how amazing the lifestyle and stuff like that was. And I started exploring job opportunities. And I spoke to a recruiter in Oman. And yeah, the rest, as they say, is history. His name is Shayaz Kaka. And yeah, if it wasn't for Mr. Shayaz, yeah, I don't know. But yeah, he was able to take my CV, push it into the right places. And yeah, he got me a couple of interviews, and then I was able to move to Oman from there.
Nice. Was it as easy as it sounded in terms of paperwork?
No.
So transition like?
Actually, the entire process took me 18 months. So 18 months from making the decision to leave to actually being able to land in Oman. It took me a while to research just simply how to go about doing it, and then just being from Trinidad and Tobago, oftentimes with education, it's very easy to recruit people from the UK, New Zealand, Ireland, etc., because they have qualifications that are globally recognized. So I had to almost prove to recruiters that that my qualification is actually a globally recognized qualification. Because I went to Andrews University, or USC. At the time, USC was given an affiliate degree in English. So my diploma that I got from USC when I graduated, right from Morocco St. Joseph, says Andrews University, Michigan on the diploma. So I was able to use that as a way to kind of leverage my own expertise and then eventually get me out there.
So what's some of the biggest differences you notice between the systems in the Caribbean and the Middle East? Because you taught several times and in different schools in here in the Caribbean. What's the difference you noticed?
I think the biggest difference is twofold. I think one, as a teacher at home, I believe that teaching as a profession is incredibly respected. You you tell your parents, you tell your peers that you are a teacher, they tend to feel like yeah, that's a job that you could be aiming for. What that also means is that in the classroom you tend to get a bit more respect because you have or you hold some important keys towards student wellness, towards student overall educational future. So the students they want to do well because they want you to help them to do good in CAPE or to get a 1 in CXC as the case may be. When I moved over here, it was one of the first times that I realized that the students are already incredibly well off, and their educational performance does not really determine their potential lifestyle. A young Omani gentleman who is 19, his government is going to provide him with ample opportunities for just economic growth. If he has a good business idea, he doesn't need a business degree in order to get that idea off the ground. The Middle East has a way of really investing in their locals that they could sometimes take for granted, but I wouldn't say that they take it for granted. I would say more that the opportunities are just so abundant that actually the teaching and learning or sometimes the education mightn't be the number one thing that they're focused on.
Interesting. So do you think your teaching background here in the Caribbean influenced your approach to teaching in that international school setting?
Yeah, I think that everything about who I am is Trinidadian, is Caribbean. So I think that it will be difficult for me to run away from that aspect of it in my teaching. I think that being able to foster relationships with students is something that I was able to hold. I was able to bring that with me over here. I think being able to foster also a passion for English language is something that I was able to hone to bring it over here. So for me, I think being from the Caribbean is just intrinsically who I am, and therefore that plays a big influence in the way that I approach things. And to be fair, I think that it has helped me to grow in leadership as well, right? So being always having a smile on your face, being from Trinidad, you tend to take a lot of things easy. You tend to not get caught up in too much of the day-to-day bacchanal. So that definitely helps. That definitely helps. And I guess just having a pleasant disposition as someone who leads, continuing to be approachable and continuing to be trusting, just also things that really helps. And I think that people always say, "Are you smiling?" So say, "There's nothing to look which part we live in. It has nothing to be vexed for over here."
Right.
Yeah.
So I do use the word bacchanal, so nice. Still
Yeah.
just still hear me and you have you introduced that word to them across there? Because I think as Caribbean people, it just slips out. I'm not in that
Yeah.
bacchanal at all.
Not, I think the word the two words that really come up the most is mashup, right? I remember being in one of my first meetings, and they had asked my opinions on, on one of the assessments, and I said, oh, the children will mash up that, and nobody in the meeting room knew what the term mashup meant. They couldn't understand as to why I would put the both words together.
Yeah, which is a
And
mashup in itself, right?
yeah. That is a mashup in itself. So,
Yeah.
and that was very, very early. I think that was probably like 3 weeks into my time in Oman, and I was petrified.
Uh,
And the other word that I definitely introduced them to is liming.
oh gosh.
Yeah, because they could to explain it to someone as any social event, they couldn't really understand. So I was like, so they say, is it a birthday party? I said, well, is a birthday lime? And they say, so then is it a house party? I said, well, it's a house lime. It could be anything. It's like, so they still don't understand, but
Just
yeah,
for the
we
experience, you have to bring them
yeah,
to
yeah.
Trinidad.
Yeah, definitely try to explain liming and mashup to them all the time. Almost every meeting, I was try to give them a little bit of the culture.
So I know a lot of times when you have like in international schools, several of my colleagues who work in international schools tell me that they have like a cultural day or a cultural segment,
Mm-hmm.
just showcasing the different cultures. Do
Mm-hmm.
you incorporate cultural sensitivity into your department management or into your teaching methods?
Yeah, I think for me the most challenging part is code switching.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yes, is always been difficult for me. I think growing up in Mova and studying languages, there was a kind of duality of purpose.
Mm-hmm.
But it meant that I had a very fundamental understanding of the ins and outs of the English language, but I couldn't reconcile that with the fact of, the way that I sounded. I couldn't understand why do I speak like this, and so I couldn't understand until probably navigating the linguistic aspects of the master's program,
Mm-hmm.
where I learned about how Caribbean Creole came about, and how to be proud of the way that I speak. So one of the first things that I tell people just before the meeting starts, I say, "Days are others talk." So yeah, all you gotta fight up a little bit until you get it.
And why not,
In
right?
yeah.
Because you have so many
To be
different accents. Why not
Yeah, for sure,
accommodate
for sure,
ours?
for
Yeah.
sure, for
Mm-hmm.
sure. In To be fair, if I'm leading a workshop, if I'm leading something with parents, I
Mm-hmm.
tend to code switch a bit more because I don't want them to have to struggle, and then you have to find that balance between wanting people to figure out what you're saying, but wanting people to understand what you're saying.
Yes.
So if I'm leading a workshop, if I'm doing leading any type of training, I tend to code switch a bit more to make sure that people understand the message that I'm trying to deliver.
And you're
But in a
switching, yeah, the
day-to-day,
code switches is the standard between the
yeah,
standard and the
yeah,
base. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. So I saw that, well, you told me you emphasize a student-centered approach when
Hmm.
I did that introduction. Do you have an example where this significantly impacted a particular student's academic journey or just overall that student-centered approach?
Yeah, I think one of the big advantages about being here is just the access to resources, right? So we have an opportunity really to put a lot of resource behind any particular student. So I could talk to you about, we had a young lady that came into grade 10, which is the equivalent of Form 5 for
Mm-hmm.
us. Came into Form 5 from Portugal. We are an English medium school. She had some conversational English, but she didn't have a lot of written English. So she could definitely understand what was being said in the lessons, but she couldn't articulate that learning on paper at all. So what we were able to do is that we were able to first give her a means test. Once
Mm-hmm.
we gave her that means test, we were able to ascertain her English level, and then we were able to design a bespoke program that a bespoke ESL program that allowed her to not only find success in our school in terms of when she had just started, but to eventually matriculate back into the school program, because she was able, in my lessons, she went from being unable to complete an assignment to, by the end of Form 5, being able to write full essays in English. So
Excellent. Wow.
yeah, so those are some of the things that you feel incredibly privileged to be a part of, watching a student grow during the course of an academic year.
That's excellent. Lovely story. I'm curious, because people think Middle East and then they think
Yeah.
gender and separation,
Yeah.
men and women. Because I'm hearing you talking about in you're working with a female student. Is there a difference between within the school setting, being an international school, and what happens outside
Yeah.
of the school culturally? What's that difference like gender wise?
To be fair, there's no real discrimination. I had anticipated a lot of it when I was coming over. I was thinking, like what would the lifestyle here look like and feel like? You expected to have respect for Islam, of course, being over here. In some international schools, based on the predominance of the religion in that particular school, would determine the way that the school is run. So, for example, when I worked at Emirates National School, the catchment area for that school, or the student population for that school, represents a lot of Arabs and a lot of locals, Emiratis. So what that would mean in the secondary school building, we would have the secondary school separated boys and girls. So you would go to a mixed primary, and then once you get into secondary, we'd be separated into boys and girls from Form 1 all the way to upper six. I'm just using
Yeah.
the Trinidad classes to help us. Yeah. But in my current school now, Raha International, again an international school, we have a smaller Islamic population. So we have mixed classes. In my class, I would have um in a class of 25, I probably have it split down the middle, probably 12 or 13 boys or girls, as the case may be, working together, growing together. Yeah.
Okay. So when in your previous school and you were talking about the students being separated, like in our equivalent of
Yeah.
secondary school, male and female, did that apply to the teachers as well? Is it that did you split them in the
No,
classroom, or did they have the females have female teachers and the male have male teachers?
not necessarily. So because it's a all girls school, it would just be much easier for the female teachers to teach in the girls section of the school.
Okay.
But if you're a female teacher, then you'd be able to teach across boys and girls school. The only real limit would be male teachers teaching in the girls school. What the school did to battle with that idea of men not being able to comfortably go into the girls' school is that they implemented, even before COVID, they implemented an online teaching program. So if, for example, the best physics teacher that the school had, the best physics that Emirates National School had, was a male teacher, he would still be able to teach the female class online.
Okay, that's
So
interesting.
the girls wouldn't be at a disadvantage from an educational standpoint. It was only the hassle at that time of being able to get the teaching and learning done, being in separate spaces.
So as you talked about teaching in Raha International, how do you and your colleagues at that international school ensure that your curricula remains innovative and relevant to the students' needs? I know you talked about there being a lot of resources available, so I'm interested to hear the answer to this one. How you ensure that
Nah,
your curriculum remains innovative? Yeah.
yeah. The IB, the International Baccalaureate system, is a system that prides itself on innovation. Why I'm happy leading the curriculum, the middle years program curriculum, is because innovation within the IB school, innovation within Raha paramount to paramount to what we want success to look like. In that, we have the opportunity to pivot in terms of what our assessments look like. We have the opportunity to bring a lot of real world examples into what we do. For example, in math, you would be looking at data sets. We would give our students the opportunity to interview every student in the school to find out what is their favorite cake, for example. So we give you the opportunity. Let's go interview numerous classes. What is your favorite cake? We found out that the favorite cake is chocolate cake. So we're going to look at the data that we were able to gather. And then we could safely say as a math team that if we bring one chocolate cake to school, that we could easily distribute that cake within the school day. And then you'd suddenly see children show up to school with cakes because they bake cakes for math. So you're allowed to be incredibly innovative, and you're allowed to bring a lot of real world opportunities into the class. Another example, in English, when we teach them creative writing, we teach them narrative writing. What we have the students do is that we have them interview students in grade 3, students in about second year, and ask them, what are some of the things that you guys are interested in? So that when we talk to them about Freytag's pyramid and they're thinking, what is the climax? How does this story end? They already have topics that they got from third graders to help influence their writing. And then at the end of producing those stories, we go back to the third graders and read these stories to them, so that our students then become authors because they've authored a book, and then they have the opportunity to read it to their peers. So it's always an incredibly fulfilling time.
Yeah, sounds wonderful. And it speaks to the student-centered approach that you said that you like and that you try to facilitate. So you work as both a teacher and a coordinator. How do you balance the demands of that dual role in your workplace?
It's interesting. I think I had the option to not teach once I got the assistant head role.
Position, yeah.
Yeah. So assistant head, MYP coordinator, they say, listen, there's going to be a lot of work. You don't really need to be in the classroom because your responsibility is now shaping what education looks like in the school. But I struggle when I am not connected to the students. And I also have seen where leaders have stepped out of the classroom completely and have gotten a disconnect from the staff that you're trying to lead in terms of what the expectations are of good teaching and learning. So I've challenged myself. This is my third year. Yeah, this is my third year in the role, actually.
Congrats.
So I've challenged myself to continue to be in the classroom. I think it's twofold, because one, it allows me to just be in contact with kids, be able to come into the building and still know that that I have to head to a classroom. It's surprisingly the only time that's protected. If I'm in my office and someone comes in, they immediately start talking, even if the laptop is open or closed. However, if someone is looking for me and they see me, teaching the lesson, they say, yeah, nah, he busy.
Right.
So that's important. And I think that as a leader, if there's an initiative that I want to run, if there's a teaching and learning practice that I want people to see, if there's something that I found in my lesson or expectation that I have of other teachers within their lesson, they know that I also have to do that same thing myself. Right. So I always encourage people to come and observe my lessons, to come and give me feedback in terms of what they think that I could do well, what I could do differently, and just try to be incredibly reflective as well. But yeah, stepping into the building and not going into a classroom, yeah, that's a challenge for me.
Yeah, sounds like a wonderful head to have, eh? Because that's not the experience everywhere. So listening to it is, I think, what a lot of people would like to have in their head, especially having, people come into your classroom and what you do. You do it's leading by example. So do you find that impacts your relationship with the staff and with the people in your
Immensely.
department also? Yeah.
Immensely. I think that knowing that we have I was about to say Tuesday. Every Tuesday afternoon we have mandatory professional development, right? So every member of the teaching staff has to stay back, and as a leadership team, we have a timetable of stuff that we want to get through. We have 36 teaching weeks in the year. We probably have 30 of those Tuesdays where we have something that we want to share. Being one of the voices that is sharing something or launching a new initiative is important. Like I said, that the teachers know that, yeah, Kevin is telling us to do this thing. Kevin also knows that he would have to do it as well. So therefore, Kevin understands that this is incredibly important for the teaching and learning or for the student well-being. And I think I always tell them that I always try to put the students first. So if this is going to benefit the students, then I think that we owe it to ourselves to try.
And part of that, you mentioned that you had a mentorship program that you developed at your school.
Yeah.
Tell us about that, and what has been the impact on the students and teachers?
I think that mentorship has always been something that I was interested in. I had always liked the idea. Teaching is a unique job where you might come into a room and the youngest person there might be the person with the most teaching experience, or you might step into a space where the oldest teacher there has a wealth of experience, but it's incredibly jaded, doesn't want to share anything. And I wanted to create an opportunity for us to for teachers to just be able to work with each other. So I started it with the Arabic teaching team. So the official name of the subject that I teach is English Language and Literature. So within the IB. The Arabic team, they teach Arabic language and literature. So we have the same success criteria and we have the same academic rubrics. And I wanted us to just see what could we learn from each other, from an English perspective and from an Arabic perspective. And it's challenging because an Arabic literature teacher is someone who teaches his entire lesson in Arabic. He does not have to speak English to the students or to the members of staff, to be fair. But no, it allowed us to pick up from each other. It allowed us to learn from each other, bridging the departments, and it allowed us to then see why would students have different attitudes in our lessons, and we were able to get to the bottom of it. A lot of the way that the Arabic staff were taught is the way that they then teach. So it took them a while to kind of understand, oh, the kids kind of have an issue here because the teaching and learning in this lesson feels different to the teaching and learning that takes place anywhere else. And we were able to grow from them in terms of understanding cultural nuance, in terms of understanding just the way that the students expect to learn or they expect to be taught.
Is called Teachers Have Issues, yes. So, we must ask the question, what issues do you think teachers have? And it will be interesting to hear your answer from the varied perspective you can take. So let me hear, what issues do you think teachers have?
I think the biggest issue, I have two of them. I think the biggest issue sometimes is respect. I think respect for just the complexities of the job, respect for the mental toll that a job like this has on you. And I think the lack of respect comes from people like, all they have so much holidays and all they have it so nice. And I think that I genuinely really struggle with that, with people just, speaking about the profession from a place of not knowing what it takes to actually be a good teacher. And the other one, the one that I feel incredibly strongly about is just time to do this job well. I think that there is so much new and innovative approaches to teaching and learning that to do this job well, you kind of need the time to research and the time to really embed yourself into what the new technologies are, into what the new ideas on education are. And that's a huge challenge to find that time to teach well. I think that even as a leader, when I'm thinking about implementing a new idea or launching a new initiative in the school, I'm also mindful of, are there assessments coming up? Do we have a parent-teacher conference coming up?
Yeah.
Is there an international trip on the schedule? How close are we to the end of the term in terms of what the mental capacity is for teachers at this time? How close are we to, to a particular reporting period? And all of those things just really take up time. So I think the big issues for me, respect for the profession and what we do, and time within the profession to do the job well.
Very good. Thanks. So you have a teacher recruitment business.
Yeah.
You're gonna tell us a bit about that. What motivated you to start that business? And
It's called Schoolmaster Recruitment and Consultancy. You can definitely find us on Instagram at Schoolmaster Rec. What motivated me? I think the big thing for me was, constantly being asked, hey Kevin, I ready to get through. Hey Kevin, I want to come out there. I want to
Right.
come out there with you. And trying to explain to people, say, hey, listen, it's good that you want to come out. However, these are the steps, or this is what you would need to do, or this is what you might want to do. And then they say, well, you can't just link it for me. I just want to come by you. I don't want to do all of the other parts. So I think it was born out of recognizing that there's a need, recognizing that a lot of my friends, other colleagues, want to come and work and teach in the Middle East. I think having been here for 10 years, I was able to just have a wealth of knowledge in terms of what does it take to be successful in coming over here. And then being in multiple leadership roles, I've been able to be on the other side of the interview process. So understanding what the entire interview and recruitment process looks like. So I was able to then say, okay, what I could do is probably package all of this information. And for those people that are genuinely serious about wanting to take that step, being able to provide them a step-by-step guide, really from point A to Z, from doing a CV that represents who you are as a teacher and educator, to CV and cover letter to enhancing your LinkedIn profile, because I've been headhunted via LinkedIn numerous times, to helping you to sign up to the right websites that would get you a foot in, and to really adding you to my network, right? Still sometimes having a Caribbean passport, a Trinidad or Jamaican passport, etc. A lot of schools wouldn't even give you a chance. So knowing what those schools are, knowing what a good package would look like, and really just trying to walk teachers through step by step. I actually enjoy doing it a lot, enjoy seeing clients come from working at home to being successful and working over here. It's a small business, so we have 100% recruitment rate for everybody that took the platinum package. But I've been able to place an English teacher from Trinidad. I've been able to place a special needs teacher as well, a guy who studied special needs at UTT. I've been able to place a math teacher as well. So those are directly people who came from Trinidad and Tobago and currently working over here. And I've been working with a couple of people for a while in terms of just helping them navigate the job market as well.
Nice. So it's good. It's very nice of you to share how your recruitment business kind of supports teachers in their transition to
Yeah,
international.
I think it's important. It's important for someone like me. When I say like me, I mean like someone who is able to be on the side of the interviewer to seek out Trinidad passports. I'm not going to lie, once the recruitment season begins and we start looking at the websites that we frequent, I normally filter by passport first. If it have a Trinidad, that man for sure gets in the initial interview. We
You guys
normally do a
here?
15-minute, yeah, regardless. I believe that it's my responsibility to at least help. The interview panels tend to be extensive anyway, so it's not I wouldn't do something that would compromise the integrity of the school. But definitely the initial interview, we do a 15-minute interview where we talk a bit about the school, who we are, what we expect from them out of the interview, and then we give them an interview task. Once it's time to talk in that interview task, then there's nothing that I could do to train you or not. You had to come
Help
with the
yourself, right?
information.
You open the
Yeah,
door, you have
you
to
had to
help
come with the
yourself.
information. Yeah, but I think it's incredibly important just to ensure diversity, but to do the stuff that I wish someone could have done for me. I used to wish that someone would see a Trinidad passport or see a Jamaican passport and say, let me give this person a chance. So I think that one of the responsibilities that I have as a leader, as someone who is trying to help schools grow, help Middle East grow, is to give, other people from the Caribbean, other people from diverse backgrounds in the Middle East and Africa, to give them a chance as well.
Well, as you know, I think most of us keep saying, which is the fact that the teaching service is really predominantly a lot of females, right? Female dominated.
Yeah.
So what would you say to a female, I think, sitting here, because there may be stereotypes, there may be preconceptions of what would happen in the Middle East for a female teacher? Do I have to wear, do I have to dress differently? Would I be restricted in movement? What might happen? How would I be limited in seeking to move to maybe the Middle East to teach? What comments or advice would you give to them, female teachers?
Yeah, there's absolutely no limitations on your freedom of movement as a woman, your freedom of movement as a female teacher. The Middle East is incredibly safe and incredibly accessible to everyone, including women. They would encourage you to be conservative. So dress conservatively at work.
Right.
So that is the only thing that comes up, but we already dress conservatively because we work in schools, right? We don't work in an office.
Right.
I'm here with my wife. She's been here with me for 6 years, and she's never had to think about what she wants to wear to go to any place. And she is also from Trinidad and Tobago, and so she's never had to think, oh, should I wear this, or I cannot wear this here, or I cannot wear that here. It's never really come up. You're free to express yourself any which way that you want to. And yes, respectfully. I think the only issue that comes up is if you are Muslim. That's the only time that someone expects you to be covered, or to wear a hijab, or to wear an abaya, as the case might be, if you're Muslim. But if you are not Muslim, then the rules of Islam simply don't apply to you.
Just be respectful of the culture generally.
Incredibly be respectful of the culture. I think was one that tends to come up is really being drunk in public, and that's just a real big one for people in the Middle East. That's the one that I tell people. If you're going out, you could grab a drink, you could drink and get drunk. It's not a problem. Just don't be stumbling about the
and
people place.
disorderly,
And
drunk and disorderly, as Calypso said. Because
yeah.
I think,
But
we're thinking Middle East and you say, strict, a lot of people, they feel rules and they're hesitant because of rules. And then they think, okay, as a female, a male might have more freedom and things like that. So I just want to clarify that for people here that, oh, this is an entirely open market for you. And school master recruitment can help you.
I encourage every person to give it a chance, to explore the opportunity to work and teach in the Middle East. I think not only from remuneration standpoint, but just from
culturally,
teaching and learning. It just gives you something different. And it's stuff that I didn't know that I needed when I started. Like I said, I was desperate. I was desperate to earn more because I felt that I was doing equal work for less pay. And that was something that had sat with me once I'd gotten into teaching and learning. But yeah, just being able to step away from Trinidad has provided me with just countless opportunities to learn and grow.
And, it speaks to you because you initially did say, you talked about the pay gap, which a lot of the male teachers on here spoke about, and which is quite understandable, men.
Yeah.
And then when I'm looking at your bio, you continue to learn, you continue to professionally develop, and you're in these leadership roles. So it certainly has become more than the pay now, right? I think it's because this is something I love, and you feel validated in it. So
it is something that I'm incredibly passionate about. The remuneration packages not a bad neither, but
I'm sure.
but yeah, no. Again, why, even if we go back to why come abroad, why teachers should come abroad, I think that the lifestyle that you're able to live in the Middle East, combined with what the salaries could be, combined with what the actual contract package normally is, right? So for me, for example, they provide me with an apartment free of charge, a one-bedroom apartment free of charge. The only thing that I need to pay is my internet bill and groceries, right? Everything else is the monthly rent is covered. So that just provides you with a level of disposable income that would help you to support your family back home, but also allow you to have an amazing opportunity to explore over here.
So initially, what was it like for you? Did you get homesick? Was it hard, especially if you're moving there? You're talking about with wife and all of that, but what if it's a single guy or somebody themselves? What was it like?
So I've been here for 10 years. I moved in January 2014. My wife came in 2018. So I spent 4 years by myself. It was a challenge. I'm not going to lie. When I moved to Oman, I spent a lot of those nights, crying, crying because you're homesick, crying because people don't understand your accent, crying because the language barrier was a huge challenge. In Oman, they speak a lot more Arabic. And it was one of the first experiences where I found that English wasn't the predominant language. And this is me coming from Trinidad, where every single person that I speak to understands exactly what I need. When I moved to Oman, I also moved to a very rural village. So there were probably only 7 or 8 Westerners. So that's a combination of people from the US, South Africa, and myself. Every other teacher in the college was of Indian, Pakistani, or Middle Eastern descent. So they would speak Arabic to each other, then they would just speak one sentence of English to me. So they would just say, Kevin, the lesson is on page 35. But the day-to-day conversations would be in Arabic, the day-to-day conversations would be in Hindi, and there was a difference in culture as well. A 30-year-old Trinidadian man and a 30-year-old guy who grew up in Mumbai are very, very different 30-year-olds. He's already married with multiple children. He's his life and his lifestyle is incredibly different. He doesn't drink, he doesn't lime. So I really struggled in that first year to establish myself. I struggled in that first year to be sure that this was a commitment that I wanted to make. And because of that, even when I started the business, I created a WhatsApp group for the new teachers that coming in. I tried to reach out to them, make sure I could take them out to show them places to be, because I know when you show up by yourself, it's very exciting until it's very exciting until it's 9 o'clock in the night, and and you're just in a strange apartment in a strange country.
Right. Especially without this people speaking the language, and especially from a
Yeah,
region
yeah,
where people like to
yeah,
lime, and you can go down out
yeah,
with 11,
yeah,
3 o'clock in the
yeah,
morning and get something to
yeah,
eat.
yeah,
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 that's
yeah.
lovely.
So to be fair, in that was in Oman. In Abu Dhabi, it was incredibly different. Abu Dhabi is very cosmopolitan. You could find other Trinis here if you look hard enough. You'll definitely find other people from the Caribbean here. They have a big Western culture. Dubai as well. I mean, Abu Dhabi is an hour drive away from downtown Dubai, and that's like a different, a different part of the globe, if you want to call it that. But yeah, amazing experiences. So coming over here now is a lot easier because we have a lot of systems set up. But yeah, just being in Oman in that first year was incredibly challenging.
At least you're being realistic. So how do you manage the demands of being with your professional life and your schoolwork, head of department and teaching, and running your own business? How do you manage that healthy work-life balance?
I think passion. Yeah, I have a passion for bringing people over. I think that it's easy at home to say, there's a good government work, and I'm looking to leave this for, and I'll do my 33 and a third years, and like, so because those were the things that people told me when I was planning to leave, right? Some of my colleagues said, where you going there for? Like, you start teaching young, you'll make it 33 years just now. I was like, you want me to wait 33 years to so
It's a
so sorry,
risk
what
in
was
a lot of
the
people's mind because you feel comfortable and you feel secure. And
yeah,
there's
it
a lot of
is.
traditional systems in place that
It
everybody know,
is.
you
It
just
is.
wait,
It
and
is.
the people you
It
work with talk
is.
about the same thing. So it's very relaxed
Yeah.
in terms of
Yeah.
it's frightening to move to
Yeah.
an entirely
Yeah.
different place. So it's a risk, and you
Yeah.
kind of have to have, as they say, fortune favors the brave.
Yeah.
There you go. What are your future aspirations in your teaching career? What are your future aspirations? Running your
So
own Middle Eastern school?
it's interesting. It's interesting. Currently where I am is a very nice sweet spot. Being the assistant head, teaching 2 classes, leading the school on curriculum is an amazing place to be. Just above me would be a deputy head of secondary, and above that person would be the head of secondary. What that essentially means is that in those roles, you cannot teach because the role is just so insurmountable. But
Administrative,
those,
it's more administrative
yeah,
things,
yeah,
right? Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But those roles also take you so far away from the kids sometimes that it's not something that currently that I'm thinking about
Because you
doing.
want to be a teacher.
Yeah,
You love being in
I
the
still enjoy
classroom.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
still enjoy it. And I think that I want to ride that wave until the time comes when I'm like, actually, I don't want to do this part of teaching
Anymore. Yeah.
anymore. So actually the future aspiration is to really try to build this school as much as I can. This is one of the best places that I've worked at. No real complaints about the work or the work-life balance or the way that the job is set up, knock on wood. So it's really to continue to just enhance the program that we have there.
Yeah, so thank you so much. I don't know if it was like at the end of COVID or something, and I was looking at you, it may have been on LinkedIn or something, and you put something there, and I think you said that they had canceled school that day. So, and you
Yeah.
had planned a race or something with the children. I don't
Yeah.
know if it was a sports day. and you encourage them to use Scratch or something like that. And
Yeah.
they got to race Mr. Holder or race or whatever
Yeah.
they can. And I said,
Yeah.
let me go in here and see what this is so fun to think of that, because to translate something that's physical like PE and then to have them, I didn't even know, I went and what is Scratch? And I'm Googling. And then I was looking and I think you posted the final version of it with one of your students. And then it was a 10-year-old child. So I went in there and I'm like, let me try that.
Yeah.
Kevin, up to now, that must be about a year ago. I cannot navigate this Scratch.
They're real clever. That does make the job a little bit easier because the children, they want to learn.
They've had the resources, they've had the opportunities.
Yeah. Some of the ways that they think as well is just,
I'm telling you, I was amazed. Because and then I went into the process. I said, oh, here it is, Scratch, and it looked like two little easy thing. And then I couldn't even get past thing. And Kevin, I was there maybe for 5 hours trying to get this.
Yeah, because you're determined. Yeah, because you're determined. You're telling yourself, if this little boy could do it.
Yes, and he did it so easy. And I think you said in the thing or in the comments or whatever he was saying, because I think you might have put it on YouTube as well. They just did it last minute. It was an impromptu thing. I spent 3 days trying just to get the character to do the thing. So I'm like,
because
wow.
because one of the things that I do as one, because like an assistant head is essentially a vice principal. So they have
like a head of department here, right? Like a head of department.
More than a head of department. So think like I am the head of Form 1 to Form 5. So we have a head of Form 1 to Form 5.
It's like a dean plus head plus VP kind of combined role.
Yeah. So you're doing a bit of dean and a bit of curriculum for Form 1 to Form 5. Then you have somebody else who doing that same thing for lower 6 and upper 6. So the two of us are under one deputy head, and the deputy head is then have the head. So as soon as they come into Form 1, I start telling them that they're looking small and I'll beat all the race. I'll beat everybody. All comers. And then so that's just to get them to hype up, because I do teach Form 1 and I have no way for them to really know who I am now yet. But if I get to hype them up for this race, and I plan the race for, mid-October, so I give them like about 6 weeks of the term to talk about it, it means that by the time they get to Form 2 and they get to my class, we already have kind of one thing in common, like, hey, you come last in the race, blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
Yeah, it was really nice. It was really nice to see it, to hear it. I went back to work and I shared it with people. I said, oh, look, well, this teacher I know in Middle East, and he's doing this, and let me go and check it. And it beat me up because I didn't even get past it. So it was really, really nice.
Good.
But so thank you so much for joining us here on Teachers Have Issues. Yes, I think it's very informative, a very engaging interview. I want my listeners to know that you empower minds and you ignite curiosity.